In my view, that's a question. If you guys talk to Ed back there, he's the guy in the gray sweatshirt. I mean, he's charged with the responsibility of reading the source material, trying to ingest it, define it his way, and make it work in a way that would make sense, to who he is as a writer and to what we hope would be well received by the fandom. My job as a director is to make that visually real. All Cassie can do is write the books. She's a novelist. And it's a tough thing because she's got to let go of her child, give it to the world, and hope for the best, which has got to be tricky as an artist. But we do have a great many examples of that being done very, very well, from the Bond series to Hunger Games, to take your pick. There's so many examples of things that began in a written capacity and went on to become visual expressions of themselves and proved to be wonderful and rewarding. And obviously the opposite is true, and we certainly hope to avoid that.
I mean, Richie is right. His job is to direct, what is the adaptation that's given to him, and my job is sort of to let go of why world and let them take over. And it does help that it's hard not to call them fast.
But I got to tell you, for example, we're in New York, and I'm thinking about this play, Hamilton. You guys know Hamilton? All right, so here's Hamilton. It's about a bunch of old white guys that got it going at the beginning of America, and it's expressed by Hispanics and African Americans and people of a great many ethnicities. It's done in a hip hop meter and what have you, and I find it to be one of the most original plays in ages. So who would have thought you could take that story, express it as such, and make it so satisfying for all of us? I would never be so bold as to say we're that excellent, because that would be indeed the gold standard and the North Star. But we're trying. So I do think there's a long list of great examples of expressing in numerous new ways to the satisfaction of the fandom. And believe me, she's got a passionate fandom.
How close to the books will the series be, and what differences are there to be?
Again, that's far more of an Ed question. I mean, Ed has to create sort of the show Bible and break it out. One thing that's interesting is, she's the master of her universe when she sits down to write. She likes to go to places where she can get away from the noise and really focus on her writing. As a director in a film, the director of the buck kind of stops with you. Television is largely the medium of the showrunner. The showrunner has to parcel out over, we had 13 episodes, we had this, so Cassie can exert her influence. I can exert my influence. But at the end of the day, the tip of the spear is the person who's the showrunner. So we wanted to be very, very aggressive and apply pressure to Ed. Stick to the books, stick to the books. I'm getting this messaging from the fandom. Hey man, this is what I think is really important about what was in the text. And, I think he did his best, and I think that everybody's going to be happy in the end. And far more than not, we do indeed stick to the books. We play a little bit with time. We put a little bit more energy into some characters. You talk about Meliorn that was put into the book series. But again, I think you can't take it any higher than Game of Thrones, Song of Fire and Ice. So if you get caught up in the books, you might be like, what are you doing? But if you can just let go and watch it, on Sunday nights, I think you can find it very, very satisfying in its own way. Is that fairly put? So, I mean, it's tough. It's tricky business, but we're going to try our best.
We've got time for one more question.
I was just going to say, and also a television show is a very different structure in terms of the fact that it's a series you have to create 13 units, stories that are units in one of themselves and have a beginning, a middle, and an end, which is not something that you have in a book. So you have to kind of look at it and figure out what portion of this book makes a beginning, a middle, and an end. Is there something pacing-wise that we have to do? Is there an event we have to insert to give this an ending? That kind of thing. And keep in mind, I don't actually know what's going to happen. So I'm excited. I've managed to pry a little information out of them. I'm like, Magnus and Alec is gonna, right? And they'll tell me some stuff. But I think I'm gonna be quite surprised by what happens. Just like, well, probably I've only seen the pilot.
But you can tell us about that.
Sure. I guess to me, I would say that I think that fans are going to really bond with the actors who play these roles. I think that they were carefully chosen, and I think that in a way that doesn't happen actually all that often, they kind of blend together into a unit. And I think that they're going to see interesting dynamics between characters that we wouldn't have time to focus on in a movie. So like for people who are really into Jason Alec, this is your jam. They're gonna have a really intense storyline, and so I think that's one of the things that television does offer.
Can we all take a moment and put together how brilliant that was, that without missing a beat, she answered in 5 words. I've only seen the pilot.
Yeah.
Were you cognizant of that was going to come out in 5 words?
No.
Okay, then you don't deserve all the credit I want to give. 'Cause I was going to say that is some otherworldly Mensa freak out. And
No,
wow.
I mean, it was like
Yeah.
those voices were speaking.
Yeah.